How did you deal with your super religious family? I grew up in a house where every morning began with prayer and every evening ended with scripture. My parents weren't cruel, not in the way people think when they hear the words super religious. They were kind in their way, generous when they could be, and sincere in everything they believed. But their world was narrow, wrapped tightly around our small church and its rules. By the time I was 12, I could recite whole passages from the Bible by heart. I wore skirts below the knee, avoided pop music, bowed my head in restaurants. I said things I didn't fully understand because they were expected: sin, salvation, obedience. I remember sitting in the pew, staring at the stained glass window, and wondering if I actually believed any of it, or if I just didn't want to disappoint them. My brother left first. He was 16 when he stopped going to church, started skipping dinners, started smoking behind the shed. He fought with my father almost every night. My mom cried behind closed doors. When he finally moved out, we didn't speak for 3 years. They called it rebellion. I called it survival. I stayed. I smiled. I kept the peace. I buried the questions that kept me awake at night. In college, my world cracked open. I met people who didn't believe in anything at all and still managed to be good, kind. I read books I would have once hidden under my bed. I took philosophy classes that felt like warm light on parts of my brain I didn't know existed. I kissed a girl in the rain and didn't feel ashamed. I went home for Thanksgiving that year and didn't tell them anything. Not about the books, not about the girl, not about the way I'd started to feel like I was finally breathing after years underwater. I said grace. I listened to the sermons. I kept the mask on. It broke eventually. My mom found a notebook in my room when I was home for winter break. She read the poems I'd written, the ones about doubt, about longing, about her, about a God I wasn't sure I believed in anymore. She confronted me in the kitchen, shaking, holding the notebook like it had burned her fingers. My father didn't say much, just left the room, which somehow hurt more. She asked if it was true, if I really didn't believe anymore. I said I didn't know. She cried. I tried to explain, but it all came out messy. I wasn't trying to reject them. I wasn't angry. I was just trying to figure out what felt real to me. That night, I packed my bag and drove back to campus early. My father didn't say goodbye. My mother stood in the doorway holding a dish towel, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. We didn't speak for months. Over time, things softened. We started emailing, then calls, then visits. We don't talk about belief much anymore. I think we've all quietly agreed that silence is safer than argument. But last year, when my partner and I flew home for Christmas, my mom set a second place at the table without being asked. My dad asked about our jobs, not our souls. It wasn't perfect. It was quiet, careful, but it was something. I think love stays, even when understanding doesn't. I think it finds new shapes, quieter ways of existing. I still don't know what I believe, but I know I can live with that, and somehow they can too.